Hi, I'm Kevin Boulay from Leeds Forensics, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to introduce the Trace-E comparison microscope for you. This is a compound comparison microscope and was designed primarily for the trace evidence examiner in the forensic lab. So before we talk about the microscope, what I'd like to do is talk a little bit to you about what the trace evidence examiner does. The trace evidence examiner is going to compare oddities found at the crime scene. It's kind of an unusual word. What is found at the crime scene is going to vary from one crime scene to another. In one case, I might be comparing carpet fibers. Maybe they were from the trunk of a car they thought the victim was placed in. In another case, maybe they found long blonde hairs on the victim. It might be soil, it could be plant material, it could be almost anything. So they're going to be using this as an investigative tool, and what they want to do is to be able to compare items found at the crime scene, maybe to a potential source, maybe to prove that the hair found on the victim looks very similar to the hair from a suspect. But they're going to be comparing those items. The beauty of this, if you're already a microscope salesperson, is I think you're going to get comfortable with this microscope very quickly and very easily. First of all, we sell and design the microscope similar to how you would a single freestanding microscope. We review with the customer the techniques that they want to perform. It may be polarized light to compare artificial fibers. It could be phase contrast, regular transmitted light, bright field. It could be reflected light fluorescence. Different people will use the comparison microscope to a different degree. We have some customers that have their comparison microscope and all they do is bright field work, and then they will have a second microscope, a single freestanding microscope, that they might do some of their polarized light or fluorescence work there. One of the things we offer is the unique ability to do all of those techniques on a comparison microscope if you choose to go that way. So the point is you're going to be familiar with the microscope sales portion of it, and the sales pitch, I don't like the word pitch, but the sales pitch on this instrument is so simple. We bring together and we offer you intensity balanced and chromatically balanced images. Now that might not sound like a big deal to you, but first of all, we need to understand how critical color is to a trace evidence examiners. If you've got two red carpet fibers that you believe are from both the victim and the potential crime scene, when we place them side by side in the comparison microscope image, we're expecting them both to show the same red color if they are truly identical or from the same source. The problem is that, believe it or not, all kinds of components in the microscope have slight optical shading to them. And you would never notice that if you had two freestanding microscopes and you move from one binocular over to the next binocular and looked at the same sample, you would think they looked the same. But when we put them side by side, what we're going to see in a comparison microscope is there are going to be color and intensity differences in the two microscopes. Some of that comes about just because of the way we have to combine the two optical ray paths in the comparison bridge, and there are chromatic shifts as a result of them passing through different beam splitter surfaces at different angles. But the beauty of all of that is with the Trace-E, you don't need to worry about that. We build you a complete system from the top on up. We color match the left microscope, we color match the right microscope, and then through fine filtration, we balance the two images. Again, color and intensity are huge to a trace examiner, and even more so in modern times because we're bringing so many pictures to court. A jury sees two slightly different background colors and they start imagining things. We'd rather have them listening to the expert and looking at the pictures than trying to imagine or figure out what's going on here. It's a very unique thing that we do. Our competitors, they provide you a red, green, blue filter, and they suggest that you can color balance the two images yourself. Now, if we don't hand sort all the optics, you may have to color balance at each and every separate magnification while you're working with the microscope, and you can imagine how tedious that could become. Find the microscope techniques they want. We'll build the microscope from top to bottom. You deliver it to the customer, and it's color balanced and they're ready to go. A couple other quick unique features and we'll wrap this up. First and foremost, you can see I have a standard tilting Zeiss trinocular here, and that trinocular, while it tilts, which is very important to our customers, won't allow you to have simultaneous viewing to the eyepieces and to the camera port. The solution for that is Leeds builds a camera port into the trace evidence bridge. I don't happen to have one on this particular model, but the idea is by utilizing Leeds camera port, we can simultaneously view through the eyepieces and the camera at the same time. Quickly, I'm going to take a look at the front control panel here. Know that this is going to be covered much more in depth in our discovery video, but I've got a slider here that allows me to look at all of the right microscope image, all of the left microscope, and any sliding percentage in between. I have the ability to control the separation between the two images. Typically there's a little black knife edge that you will see that's defining for you that there are two separate microscope images and not one continuous. Actually what we find is the examiners like to work with no knife edge there. The two images seamlessly blend together, but then when they're going to take pictures and try to explain to people what they're doing, they like to dial in a little bit of a black edge in between the two, so it's very easy to quickly recognize that they're not the same image. We can look at this a little bit more in depth in our discovery. The Trace Z, its claim to fame, color and intensity balanced. You sit down with the customer, you determine their needs, and we design a microscope around their needs. Please, if you'd like more information, visit our website, leedsforensics.com. You can also find more videos on Leeds Forensics YouTube page. Thank you.